Hello and welcome to the news update on Papyrus Global TV. My name is Christiana Babayo. Before we begin, here are the headlines. Presidency confirms release of 130 abducted Niger students and teachers. Northern Youth Coalition accuses Tinubu of weaponizing the EFCC against the opposition. Niger State adopts time-bound implementation framework to strengthen health sector delivery. Tinubu support groups donate rice to underprivileged communities. NAFDAC alerts public to foreign Indomie noodles recall. Kokin Regional Chairman alleges children denied university admission over his advocacy. Nigeria and Iran reaffirm commitment to deepen trade and energy cooperation. And now the news in full. The federal government has confirmed that all 130 school children and staff kidnapped from St. Mary's Primary and Secondary School in Papiri, Niger State, have been released and united with their families, marking the end of one of Nigeria's most high-profile abduction crises of 2025. Presidential spokesman Sunday Dare announced on 21st December 2025 that no abductee remains in captivity following weeks of coordinated rescue efforts. The mass abduction occurred on 21st November 2025 when armed gunmen stormed the school in the early hours, taking hundreds of students and staff into nearby forests. Initial security operations secured the freedom of some pupils shortly after the attack, and a subsequent rescue of around 100 children was confirmed in early December. The latest operation brought the total accounted for to 230 pupils and teachers freed, closing a chapter that has gripped national attention and deepened concerns about school security. Security forces led by the Office of the National Security Advisor and supported by military and police units executed the final rescue in a forested area between parts of Niger State on Friday evening. The released pupils were formally handed over to the state authorities and are expected to be reunited with their families ahead of the Christmas holiday season, following efforts by government officials to provide care and reintegration support. Niger State authorities, clergy, and community representatives expressed relief at the outcome, while security officials highlighted that the operation reaffirms national resolve to protect vulnerable populations and challenge armed groups that target schools. A coalition of northern youth organizations has accused President Bola Tinubu's government of using the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as a tool to target opposition figures and suppress dissent ahead of the 2027 elections. The group's statement insists that anti-graft actions against opposition politicians, including high-profile investigations and arrests, amount to weaponization of the UFCC for partisan ends, arguing that Enforcement has disproportionately focused on critics of the administration. According to the coalition, recent EFCC activities against opposition politicians and party officials, which they claim have intensified in tandem with political realignment and defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress, serve to intimidate rival parties and erode multi-party competition. They argued that the trend undermines democratic fairness and could dissuade citizens from meaningful political engagement. The youth groups urged the international community, civil society, and electoral stakeholders to monitor the situation closely and call for greater transparency and fairness in the enforcement of corruption laws, asserting that accountability must be applied without political bias. They reiterated that an anti-corruption agency's credibility depends on equal treatment of all citizens regardless of political affiliation. However, the presidency has rejected such claims, emphasizing that the EFCC is an independent statutory agency that operates within the law and that investigations are not politically directed. Government spokespeople have stressed that freedom of association and political plurality are protected under Nigeria's constitution, and that enforcement actions are rooted in legal processes rather than partisan objectives. The Niger State government has approved a harmonized, costed and time-bound implementation framework to guide the execution of its 2026 annual operational plan for the health sector, signaling a strategic push to improve healthcare delivery and outcomes across the state. The decision followed a two-day internal technical retreat involving health stakeholders, planners and sector experts at Zuma Rock Resort in Niger State. Governor Umar Bago's administration said the framework lays out clear rules, milestones, and monitoring and evaluation mechanisms aimed to ensure accountability and measurable progress under the new Niger Health Agenda. Attendees focused on major thematic priorities including primary health care reforms, health financing, disease control, maternal and child health, and strengthening hospital systems. Officials from the Ministry of Health, the State Contributory Health Insurance Scheme, and the Niger State Agency for Control of AIDS presented updates on financing, disease programs, and partner-supported initiatives. The retreat also emphasized prioritization, ensuring funds are strategically aligned with health goals and deployed efficiently to achieve tangible service improvements. A prominent Tinubu support group has distributed thousands of bags of rice to underprivileged Nigerians as part of its annual Christmas support initiative aimed at sharing festive goodwill and easing food insecurity among vulnerable households. The program, conducted in Abuja and slated to expand to all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, reflects the group's commitment to both charitable outreach and sustained backing for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. TSG leaders said the rice palliatives were given to less privileged individuals and grassroots supporters alike, underscoring a season of giving that also reaffirms the group's political support in the face of national socio-economic challenges. The initiative illustrates how political support networks are increasingly positioning community welfare actions alongside advocacy efforts in advance of broader national conversations about governance and equitable development. We will now go on a short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay tuned.
The Papyrus Global, we don't just cover events, we create cinematic experiences. From red carpets to birthdays, gala dinners, and your fairy tale weddings, we bring your moments to life with high-tech precision. Our gadgets are smarter, our lenses sharper, and our team simply world-class. Trust the Papyrus Global to tell your story in the boldest, brightest way possible.
Welcome back, and now the news will continue. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) has issued a public health alert warning Nigerians about a recall of Indomie brand noodles vegetable flavor after foreign regulators, notably France's Rappel Conso, identified undeclared allergens, milks and egg in the product that could pose health risks to people with allergies or intolerances. NAFDAC's alert stressed that the recalled product is not registered for sale in Nigeria, since noodles are on the federal government's import prohibition list, making their official entry into the country illegal. As a precaution, the agency has activated heightened surveillance nationwide, with zonal directors and state coordinators directed to mop up and seize any such products if found within local markets. NAFDAC also placed the Ports Inspection Directorate on high alert to prevent illicit importation and urged consumers and retailers to exercise caution, discard any recalled product encountered, and report sightings or adverse reactions to the nearest NAFDAC office or via the agency's toll-free number 080-0162-3322. Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo, regional chairman of the Church of Christ in Nations Cooking in Barkin Ladi, Plateau State, has raised serious concerns that his children are being denied admission into Nigerian universities because of his outspoken criticism of what he describes as the systematic killing of Christians in parts of Nigeria. Dachomo, a prominent cleric and human rights advocate known for highlighting violence against Christian communities, said his children have met all academic requirements for admission but are repeatedly rejected during screening processes, especially by northern institutions, allegedly after admission officers see their surname. According to Dachomo, this pattern has occurred on multiple occasions, causing emotional distress for his family and raising fears of targeted discrimination linked to his public stance. He appealed to government authorities and educational institutions not to punish his children for his activism, emphasizing that they are innocent and unrelated to his work. His comment adds to ongoing national debates about religious violence and security challenges in Nigeria, where some figures argued that attacks on Christian communities amount to genocide, a view that is contested by government officials and independent observers who point to the complexity of insecurity affecting all communities. Nigeria and the Islamic Republic of Iran have agreed to strengthen bilateral relations with a focus on trade, investment, and energy cooperation following a high level diplomatic meeting at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. The engagement held on December 17, 2025, involved Nigeria's permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Iran's ambassador to Nigeria, underscoring a renewed commitment to deepen economic ties that span 5 decades of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Both sides emphasized the importance of a sustained diplomatic presence, including plans by Nigeria to appoint an ambassador to Tehran to accelerate cooperation. Iran identified trade and investment as priority areas, with a shift toward joint ventures and direct investment by Iran firms in Nigeria's economy, rather than only conventional trade. Key sectors highlighted for mutual cooperation include oil and gas, agriculture, mining, and downstream industries, where both nations see opportunities to expand economic engagement. The two countries also discussed leveraging multilateral platforms such as OPEC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC), and the Gas Exporting Countries Forum to promote shared interests, enhance economic diplomacy, and foster broader cooperation across Africa and Middle East. And that's all we have on the news update on Papyrus Global TV. I am Christiana Babayo. Thanks for joining us.